In this class, we will discuss about the Monte Carlo method. This is for numerical integration for any definite integral, as you can see in this window. That is from limits a to b. Okay, so if you have any such kind of definite integral, then you can use this Monte Carlo method to find what is the value of that particular integral within that limit. Okay, so consider an integral of the form I equal to integral a to b f of x dx. Okay, consider a definite integral like this, and this representing the area under the curve. Area under the curve. That curve is defined by f of x. So considering any such integral, so for example, if you are having a curve like this is your y-axis and this is your x-axis, and let's say y is your f of x, okay, and that f of x is varying something like this. And if you are integrating this from limit a to b, let's say this is your a, this is your final point b in x. So if you are integrating that from this particular function f of x, which is varying like this, as you can see, which is varying like this, and if you are integrating that function, then basically it will give the area under this curve. Okay, we'll use some different color. So let us consider this as your curve, which is in blue color. Okay. So area under this curve will be the integration over uh, this from a to b. Okay, so if you consider this area, that will be equal to that integration. How it is going to be equal to that? If you are considering this f of x, okay, this f of x, that is this function f of x, you can see this curve. And what is dx? Dx is this. If you are integrating dx, that will be this range from a to b. And the function range is that you can get from here, function variation. So it is nothing but the area under that curve. If you are integrating from a to b, like this, integral a to b f of x dx. Okay, so integration of this function f of x from a to b dx, that will give you the area under that particular curve within this limit a to b. So this integration this integral is nothing but area under the curve, and that I have denoted with letter C. That is area under that particular curve. Okay. Now let us consider A is an area including this C. So let us consider an area which is, let's say, like this. I'll just do that. So let us consider another area like this. So almost is touching like this. Okay, so this black colored uh, rectangle, that is another, that will give you another area which is equal to A. Okay, so this is A, and this A includes area under the curve. Okay, so this area contains area under this capital A area contains area under this curve as well as this region also. Okay, and that is nothing but the area of this particular rectangle. Okay, so let us consider capital A is an area including the area under the curve C, and capital N is the number of points in area A. So that is the total number of points in this rectangle. Okay, considering this black colored rectangle. So what is the total number of points that within that area capital A? That is the total area. So that is denoted by capital N. That is the total number of points in area capital A. And if small n representing the number of points in area C, which is the area under the curve, this is your area C. Okay, so that is nothing but the area under the curve, and the area under the curve is having number of points which is equal to small n. And here we are having number of points equal to capital N. Okay. So this capital N is included, contains this N also. Okay. This N plus something which will give you capital N. Okay. So if you consider like that, then we can say this capital A will be proportional to capital A, right? Because we are having this kind of a rectangle. And if you consider area of this rectangle is capital A, and if you consider number of points in this rectangle, in this area capital A, so that number of points will be proportional to area, or the area capital A will be proportional to capital N. That is the number of points inside that particular area. Similarly, if you are considering any function within this limits A and B, okay, within that rectangle, and if you want to find out what is the area under this curve, that is represented by small letter c, and this c will be proportional to the number of points in that area c, right? C area will be proportional to the number of points inside that particular region. Okay, so I can write c is proportional to n. Then if you take c by a, that is area, this area under the curve, this area, that c divided by this total area of that total rectangle, that is capital A, this will be equal to, what is this number, n divided by, this is proportional to capital, so this is n by capital. So this is the basic principle of Monte Carlo method. If you consider the number of points in this area capital A, okay, and divide, number of points in this area under the curve divided by the total area, if you consider any known area capital A, number of points in that capital A, then you will get the area fraction. Okay, or the, when you are dividing this area under the curve with the total area, that will be equal to the number of points under the curve in that area divided by the total number of points in area capital A. Okay, so these two will be equal, and this is the principle. And if you want to know what is the area under the curve, then you can directly say this is equal to n by capital N into total area of that particular region. This square, in this case it is this square, this area. To multiply small n divided by capital N into that area, then you will get what is the area under the curve. And this area under the curve is nothing but your integration, a to b f of x dx. So in this way, you can calculate the area, the integral of any function from a to b, and this method is called as this Monte Carlo method. So in this way, we can calculate the integral of any function, and this process is called as Monte Carlo simulation. Now let's consider this example, and the very well-known example of this method is the value of phi using Monte Carlo simulation. And for this, let us consider an area of a circle. You consider circle like this, this is almost like a circle. Okay, and this circle is having radius r, small r. So this will be having area of the circle will be equal to pi r square, right? Now, if you consider only the first quadrant or a quarter of this particular circle, quadrant, and if you consider a quarter, this is not required. Consider quarter of a circle. So this quarter is considered, which means that if we consider the first quadrant, let us consider the circle like this. So this is your y-axis, this is your x-axis, and this is the origin. So if you consider only this region, that so I am just showing that particular portion of circle only in this curve. So let me put this as, so it will be like this, almost like this, right? So this will be radius r. This length will be radius r up to this. This is your x-axis. This is y-axis. So up to this, if you consider, this will be your radius, and this is also r to this because it is representing same circle with radius r. Okay, and the area of this one, this uh, portion of the circle will be pi r square divided by 4. We are dividing this circle with 4 parts, right? So this is pi r square by 4, and if r equal to 1, if I put r equal to 1, then area of that segment, that particular portion of the circle, that will be equal to, let's say this is the total area. Let's take it as TA or AT, you can consider. You can give any name for this. Let us consider this as the total area of the circle, total area. And this is the area of that particular region that we are considering, 1/4 of that circle. So that will be equal to pi by 4 when we are taking r equal to 1. So this is the area of this segment of that particular circle. And this area that we are interested in. Okay. Now you know what is this area, that is pi by 4 when your r is equal to 1. And you want to calculate what is the value of pi. Okay. So now consider some random points between 0 and 1 for x value and 0 and 1 for y value also. So which means that the x and y values should vary from 0 to 1. Okay. So considering r equal to 1, which means that this is equal to 1. Here also we are having 1. So x variation is from 0 to 1, right? 0 to 1. So x should vary. X is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 1. So x value should be in this range, and y value also within this range, because y maximum value is 1 because radius is 1. Okay, so consider this these two conditions, and points you can consider within this limit. So you can have points within these two limits, which means that if you are considering x square like this, y is a square because radius is fixed. So both of these edges will be having same size. Okay. So this is 1, this is also 1. So if you consider this square, the number of points within this square, so we are considering that square that is blue in color. You can have number of points within that square, and these points will be within this range. If you consider x value within 0 to 1, y value within 0 to 1, you have n number of points, large number of points, like for example 0, comma, 0.1, 0.1, comma, 0.5, or any configuration, any kind of points, any number of points you can consider, n number of points you can consider within, in such a way that the value of x and y should be in between 0 and 1. Okay, so you can consider number of such points. Okay, and you also know that for a circle, you know, r square will be equal to x square plus y square. R square should be equal to. So if you consider any point and consider the condition that this r square, or we can say this So this is the condition for circle. So if you consider any point, so this is r, you can write r equal to, so this is r equal to 1, we already know r equal to 1. So this is 1 equal to x square plus y square. This is equation for the circle when you are having radius equal to 1. And if you consider any point inside this circle, any point inside the circle from that n number of points, then you can say this has to be x square plus y square. This value has to be less than or equal to 1. Then all those points will be inside that circle. All those points will come within that circle. If you are having x square plus y square, which is less than or equal to. So again, I will repeat here. So you can have this range of values for x and this range of values for y. So it is going to vary from 0 to 1 and 0 to 1 here also for radius which is equal to 1 fixed. And you can have n number of points within this square that we have considered. Okay. And within that n number of points, how many number of points will come within the circle? That will be determined by this equation in such a way that it is x square plus y square should be less than or equal to 1. Then only it will come within this circle, segment. Okay. So this is the condition for points which will come within the circle. And so, as we discussed earlier, total area of that square, what is that area? Area of that square will be area of the square, that is our total area, that will be equal to 1 into 1, and that is equal to 1, right? And this we can say that capital A. And for this case, let us change this to C. That is the area that we require. Okay, so just change this to C. This C representing the area under this circle segment. Okay, so this area of this square is capital A, and this C is the area which is the 1/4 of this area of this circle, total circle. So area of that square, that is A, which is equal to 1, because both the sides are equal to 1, x and y axis if you consider. And what is the area of that circular part, 1/4 of circular part? That will be, as you know, C is equal to n by capital N times total area, that is A, right? Now this A, capital A, this is equal to 1. So I can write C will be equal to small n by capital N. Okay. C equal to n by capital N. Now what is C? C we already defined. That is the area, 1/4 area of the circle, and that circle is having radius equal to 1. So that is, this C value is nothing but pi by 4, pi r square by 4, and r equal to 1. This will become pi by 4. So pi by 4 is equal to n by capital N, or we can say pi will be equal to 4 times small n divided by capital N. So this is how we can calculate the value of pi by using Monte Carlo simulation. Okay. So this is the idea how we can calculate the value of pi from Monte Carlo simulation, and you can get any of the integration value or integral value by using this Monte Carlo method also, and that we already discussed, by dividing those areas. Okay, and a known area with an unknown area, that will be proportional to or equal to the number of points within that area. Okay, and in those concepts, with that principle, we can calculate any area under the curve defined by f of x. And this is how we can use this Monte Carlo method to find the value of pi. So what we need number of points within that 1/4 of circular part, okay, or the quarter of that circle. How many number of points are there? That is the small n, and the total number of points within that square. If you divide that 2 and multiply with this 4, then you will get the value of pi. Now, how we can generate this number of points n within that quadrant of the circle? Sorry, a quarter of the circle. If you consider that portion, so how many number of points will come within this 1/4 of this circle, quarter of the circle? That is given by n, and that how we can generate number of points within this range? That can be generated by using the random function. Random function available in the Python. So randomly it will create number of points within this range, and also it will create the number of points within the square. So total number of points it will make within that square region. Okay, and within that number, so let us say this is the total number n within that square, and within that n, capital N, how many number of points are coming within that 1/4 of that circle region? Okay, a quarter of the circle region. How many coming within this region? And if you divide that to n by capital N, multiply with the 4, then you will get the value of pi. So we will generate this number of points by using this random function in Python, and then we will check whether it is coming within that circle range, 1/4 of that circle range. That will be checked by using this condition x square plus y square, whether it is less than or equal to 1. If it is less than or equal to 1, we have to count it as we have to increase the number small n. Let us consider n equal to 0 initially. Then if this point is coming within this, and then it will become 1. Then next one, if you calculate what is x square plus y square, if it is less than or equal to 1, this will become 2. And in such a way that how many number of points which is coming under that 1/4 of the circle area, that we will count, and that will be equal to our small n value, and total number of points which is inside that circle as well as outside the circular, this 1/4 of that circle region, and outside of that, within this limit, that is within that boundary value, that is 0, the x and y value that we have already defined here. Within this limit, number of points within this limit, all those points will be considered as the total area of that square. Okay, and if you divide that small n with capital N, then you will get and multiply with that 4, then you will get the pi value by using Monte Carlo simulation. Okay, let us do the program for this pi value determination by using Monte Carlo simulation. So I will just share another screen to show you the program. So I hope you can see the screen. This program representing the Monte Carlo simulation program for determining value of pi. So first you have import numpy as np. That is, you have to import this particular numpy module as np in the name of np. Okay. Then you have to give total number of points that you have to generate, and we can give different values. If as we discussed, if n is very large, then only this will give you better result. Okay, so I think I missed that in the theoretical part. This approximation of that particular integration that we have just defined, that will be valid when the number of points are very large. Okay, If we are not considering large number of points, then the result will not be that much accurate. But if your number capital N, that is the total number of points that we are considering, which is very large, then the result will be almost similar to the original one. Okay. So this is the numerical method. So we have to consider large value for capital N, that is the total number of points that we are considering. That should be very large. And initially we are having small n, which is equal to 0. That is the number of points within the area that we are interested in. That is, in this case, it is under the quarter of the circle. Okay. And then we have x points. In x points, we are generating number of x values randomly. We are using np.random function here. And this random function, this np.random.random. This random.random function will generate a number of floating x values or points, floating values within the range 0 to 1. So this function will generate number of random numbers. Okay, this will generate random numbers within 0 and 1. And those are floating values, okay, within 0 and 1. And so this x points will take number of such randomly generated values, or we can call it as random numbers within limits 0 and 1. Okay, this line is, or this instruction is for that purpose. And this here also we have number of different random numbers which are generated within limits 0 and 1 by using this random function. And how many points you need? Capital N number, this much number of points. Okay. And we take this x and y points, which is generated, how many? 10 lakhs of points which are generated. So that much of numbers of x and y values which we used to specify the points within that square. Okay. So now we'll run for I in range capital N. So I will be starting from 0 in range capital N. So up to capital N we have to consider. And if x points of I, that is x point of 0, we have to consider here initially, square plus y point of I, that is y point of 0 square, if it is less than or equal to 1. That is the condition. That is nothing but x square. If x square plus y square is less than or equal to 1, then we have to consider n as n plus 1. That is, n is incremented by 1. N will become 1 now if it is less than or equal to 1, which means that that point is coming within that quadrant, within that quarter of the circle, area of that quarter circle. If it is coming within that, then this n will become n plus 1. That is initially n equal to 0, then that will become 1. And then it will again, this I will be incremented, I will become 1, and it will calculate what is the x1 square plus x y1 square, what is that value. And if it is coming, again it is coming less than or equal to 1, then it will be again n will be incremented and it will become 2 and so on. If it is not coming within this range, which is not less than or equal to 1, then it will directly go to this this incrementation of I again, and it will check whether the next x square plus y square is coming less than or equal to 1 or not. So in this way, it will calculate how many number of points which are coming within that quarter of circle region within that area. And total number we know already, this much of number will be there. And if you take the fraction of those two numbers, small n with capital N, if you divide these two and multiply that with 4, that will give you the pi value. So after completion of this much number of iterations within this for loop, it will go to this step and it will calculate what is the value of pi. So this is the program, and then we have to print the value of pi. We can write pi equal to, or we can write value of pi equal to whatever it is, value of pi. Okay. So this is, here we are using random numbers and I will just reduce this number a little bit. So now I'm considering 10,000 number of times. So since it is just generating random numbers, each time we'll get different values. Okay. So let us run this program. You can see the value of pi equal to 3.116 in this case. 3.116. It is not that much close, but if you are increasing this number, let's say this is 10,000. Let's put two more zeros. Now what will happen? You can see it is 3.1421. So the accuracy will be much more higher or larger when you are considering large number of points, capital N. And if you run again, it will give you some other values because we are considering random numbers here. So this time it is giving you some different values. So yeah, because each time you are generating different numbers, x and y, you are generating different values, and the x square plus y square also will be different. And so we are randomly generating these points. So each time the values may be slightly differ, but when you are having this capital N is very large, then the value will be almost equal to that of the original value. Okay? The accuracy will be much higher, and the values will be much closer to the real value. Okay? So that's all about the Monte Carlo simulation, and we will discuss the Euler's method in the next class.